Ms. Groh would be followed by Fred Velasquez.
I hope I didn't break it. Hi, I'm Marge Groh. I'm a California Valley Miwok tribal member. Also a product of adoption where I probably wouldn't have learned my culture, but for the last 20 years. I have gotten over to the middle bar where we have a willow gathering spot that's sacred to us. In fact, my sister's husband's last gathering place before he passed to the other side, so it's very special to us. This is one of the cradle boards from that willow patch, so you guys can visually see that this cannot be taken away from us. Since I am a product of adoption, I might not have been able to teach my kids or my grandkids all of the sacred songs or our words of the Miwok language. I don't want them to grow up reading about me in a storybook. I want them to grow up saying, I gathered at that place with my grandmother, my great-grandmother. This is my granddaughter, Caitlin. Her Indian name is Hakeke, and I want her to be able to teach her grandchildren, too, this sacred gathering spot of the willow. Thank you.
Mr. Velasquez will be followed by John Kramer.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak. I've been observing the faces of the people who've been listening to these statements and testimonies of people who've been up here. I see them not very well moved by our emotional responses to this proposal. I think that's mostly because you represent millions of people who want the water, and we're only just a few. Our number by percentage is probably just the same, and our concerns are just as important. But I'm here actually to speak for some of those that, I can't remember the young lady's name, but she came up here and spoke about the animals that live on that water. If you inundate the water area that you want to, you'll destroy the riparian zone. The riparian zone supports all of the life that's on the mountains and hillsides around it. You're destroying animals. I'm sure somebody could go down there, if they were allowed to go down there onto the East Bay Municipal Utility District's protected watershed, they would find the yellow-legged frog or some of those other animals that would stop this immediately. And I'm sure if you went there, you could find them as well. But they're not just a yellow-legged frog that'll stop your project. There's a lot of other animals that depend on that. The fish that you use for recreation to support some of the activities on that dam need the hatches of the flies that start out in the riparian zone. All of the animals, the deer go down to the water. The rattlesnakes go down to the water. All the animals that come here, that live in this area with us, that share this land with us, are a part of the land and a part of ourselves. We disassociate ourselves with them, just like yourselves have disassociated yourself with the watershed that is actually the source of the water that you use. And it's only a commodity for you. For other people, you've heard what it means to them, and what I'm here to represent is those who have no voice. Among them are our brothers and sisters here, the Miwok people. They lost the control of this land. This is their birthright, and it was usurped from them. And it continues to have that same effect over and over again for Native people. So our concerns are very much less because our percentage is so small. But like I said, if the percentage of our population was to have a voice and equal to the numbers that you represent, it is the same. But our sentiment is that the identity of Native people is with the land. There's no separation between those. And so I worked with East Bay Mud to promote the willow gathering site at Middle Bar. And I've also worked with Stewardship Through Education to promote the use of some of the facilities on the East Bay Mud to educate children in awareness of the watershed and develop that for a K through 12 curriculum-based, science-based curriculum for Calaveras County schools, Amador County schools, and Tuolumne County schools. And that has brought me a great deal of knowledge, and my life here has brought me that same thing. And the last thing I want to say is that 17 years ago, when I learned I was going to be a grandfather, I was brought to tears by the thought that my grandson now, would never see a salmon. And that's what made me start working in the direction that I'm working now. And he's 16 now, and there are still salmon. And some of it is even thanks to the hatchery on Comanche that now supports that. But I've been here long enough that I remember a time that East Bay was happy to pay the fine for not releasing in enough water for the salmon to reach up to the lower reaches below Comanche. And it was something that was a constant thing until after they established the hatchery again. And then they began to keep the releases in sync with the water flow through the seasons. So my time is out, but once again, I'd like you all to consider that there are more things that are more important. And actually, I'm going to usurp somebody else's time because I wanted to quote Corbin Harney, who's a spiritual leader from Nevada, northern Shoshone, or eastern Shoshone, and he said that water is in trouble. He said it almost 20 years ago. I consider him a great teacher of mine. And he said, we're all in trouble because, you know what, this much of us is water, and we forget that. Oh.
Anyone else before we close this out? I've got two more. Okay. Please state your name. Thank you.
Machuksas. My name's Arveda. My Indian name's Eplali. It was given to me from my grandparents. They were from this land. They were the ancestors of this land that taught me how to gather the plants, how to take care of the water. The waters that you hear, the little mountain streams that trickle down to come down in the Mokelumne River, those are the waters that my ancestors walked on. This is where they taught me how to gather the basket material. I'm a California Indian basket weaver. I'm a traditional plant user. I teach the medicines. I work for Tuolumne, Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians. I'm their native plant specialist. They rely on me for these resources to teach to the young people. I have a room full of my family here. I'd like to invite them to come up here with me. And we support each other on this, and we oppose this taking of the water, the land. If they would come up. Joyce Rummerfield. Come on down. Margie Grow. Yoo-hoo. I would also like to thank you for having this opportunity, for having my family to be able to support each other on this. Although we come from the same families, problems arise, tribal business, politics. So this gives us the opportunity to stand strong as a family. We oppose this of taking the water. Introduce my sister Joyce Rummerfield. My other youngest sister, I'm the oldest of 6.
Much older.
My sister Margie Grow. Our cousin Brianna Creekmore. My little cousin Caitlin. We have many children that we teach the plants and the medicines and how to weave the baskets, how to listen to the water. You go there and you heal. It's a spiritual healing that you can't find anyplace else on this earth. And we go here to the Mokelumne. This is where we get our healing. And if you take that from us, you're going to have a whole bunch of problems on your hands. We'll be looking for the psychotherapist over here. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you.
I also wanted to add, all the people that are here, we give a damn. We don't need another one.